and welcome to Fat Squirrel Speaks. Today is Tuesday, I believe it's August 12th, and I believe this is episode 252. I'm Amy Beth, also known as the Fat Squirrel on Ravelry, and TheFatSQRRL on Instagram. I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted. Gus is trying to find his place. I ousted him so that I could sit here to record, and he's... Oh, if you are eating yarn. He is! And it's hand spun! This dog... I've never had a dog that ate my yarn. Annie is, of course, an angel. Olive was, when she was a puppy, would try to get into yarn, but then she quickly learned to not do that. He's just like, whatever. Anyway. This episode will have some spinning, it will have some knitting, and then it will have shameless self-promotion. I have an update Friday, and then another one soon for Halloween. Fall. Just saying. So I'll put that stuff at the end. But first, what I want to do is our Patreon prizes. So yay, Patreon people. If you enjoy the podcast and you are unable to contribute to it financially, just send out big thank yous to those folks. They're the ones that keep the podcast going. So our prizes for the second quarter, I know you're like, hey, wait a minute. Shush. Second quarter prizes are as follows. Okay, I'm going to read your names and then I'm going to give you prize options and then we'll talk about how we go from there. Okay. So first prize is Laura K. Yay, Laura K. If you have a Gmail account, that's probably you. Second prize, Christine G, who also has a Gmail account. All right, Christine. Third prize, Katie P, with a Gmail account. Okay, maybe just giving you your @ is not the best clarification. Whatever, Katie P. Yay. And Jennifer D, also with a Gmail account. All right, for all four of you, you're amazing human beings. Thank you so much. Okay, if I read your name, here are your choices. So if you're the first person, just give me your choice. If you're the second person, give me your first, second. If you're the third person, give me your first, second, third. If you're the fourth, first, second, third, fourth. Okay? In no particular order. Here are options for you. The first is a sock tube cranked by the amazing Bill of Knit Spin Farm with yarn dyed by the amazing Joanna of Knit Spin Farm. What? This is the Steve is not an Aurora colorway. So cool. And it is Tarhee fingering, which is my favorite of their base. And so the tube itself is 85 grams. It's 64 stitches around with a gauge of 8 stitches per inch. And then you have a little extra skein for doing your heels and toes and what's nots and your cuffs if you decide to. Okay. So that is one prize of awesomeness. Second prize of awesomeness is this beautiful skein of yarn from Mad Fuzzy Yarn, which is raised, milled, and hand-dyed in Maine. I'm sorry, there was a dog doing something and I'm not sure what it is. Gus! This is the Bryce colorway, and it is pretty tough. 80% East Frisian wool and 20% Firestar nylon, 400 yards and 100 grams. And it is gorgeous. It's perfect for all of your fall things that are going to be happening soon. The third option is this super awesome bag hand sewn by me. It's a heavyweight denim. It's somewhere between my sweater and large wedge size. You have your little handle, you have your whole thing, and it's super and sweet. Again, prepping you up for the fall times. And then the fourth prize, I apologize, I just added a fourth prize, so I don't have it ready for you, but it'll be ready lickety split. It just came in the mail yesterday evening. Is this tea towel, which I'm holding upside down for 2020. How cute is that? So for all of your canning and preserving awesomeness, that tea towel could be yours. So if you're one of those people, you can contact me either at the email address that you used PayPal through, or if you're not sure what that is, you can contact me at fatsquirrelfibers@gmail.com. Fatsquirrelfibers@gmail.com. If you forget, you can use the contact me on my website, fatsquirrelfibers.com. The last option is Ravelry because I don't check it as often. But yeah, first person, first prize, first choice. Second person, choices 1 and 2, etc., etc. Yay! So thank you, folks. You were so appreciated. I went through the all the data files to compare. Oh, and I did want to verify that one of those prizes was from an awesome $1 donator. Yay, $1 donators. So I try to make sure that each time we have at least one prize that goes to somebody who donated either $1 like through the whole quarter or just like $1 each month or what have you, so that we get good range of folks. I'm just going to let that dog tear up that Kleenex. I'm just going to let it happen. If you're like, hey, I might like to donate to the podcast, I will say thank you from the bottom of my heart. And then I will say, if you're curious about what next quarter's prizes will be, well, let me tell you. Actually, third and fourth quarter prizes, I'll be doing more prizes than normal. So I'll be doing 5 prizes for third and fourth quarters. What? It's a thing that I'm going to do. This is the only time, nothing forever that we'll do 5. I'm just saying third and fourth quarters, there'll be 5 prizes. One of the prizes will be this one for the third quarter. One of the prizes will be, it's tea towels, y'all. There's a thing. One of the tea towels will be this one. What? One of the tea towels will be this one. It's true. And one of the tea towels will be this one. So I got them all in the post on Monday. It was very exciting. So tea towels for Patreon and PayPal donators. Or Ko-Fi donators. If you donate to a Ko-Fi, you go on that list too, because I count you as a PayPal donator, but I don't always say that, and I apologize for my lack of clarity. But I count you. So yay to those folks. Okay, let's get into the knitting and spinning. Okay. Finished objects. Despite Gus's attempts to chew this up, I did finish this test sample. Whatever, I'm counting it. It's finished. It's a sample that's finished. So this is a sample of yarn that I spun up from my Columbia fleece that I bought at Maryland Sheep and Wool. Do you see me looking off camera? It's because I'm looking at it. It's washed. It's in like one of those Ziploc like big containers. It's like right there and the carder's right there, and I'm just like, I see you. As soon as fall bags are out the door, we got a date. So she's all cleaned up. It just needs to be carded. And spun. You know, the biggest parts. So I just did a chain ply of this sample because I would like to do a sweater's worth. I have plenty to do a sweater's worth. And usually for sweaters, I do like 3 plies just for durability. I don't always do that, but I think I will make it a 3 ply. It's pleasantly greasy still. Not like super greasy, but just a little bit. That was a super greasy fleece. I've never worked with Columbia at all, and I was surprised at how much grease it had in it. But, you know, whatever. So there's that. And then I also finished, I had some little like baby bats from Knit Spin Farm that were made of awesomeness. So the pink side, the pink gray side of this skein was from her super awesome batlings. And then the cream or the white part of the skein was some American, right? I'm saying, I have doubts. American Tunis from Tarheelbilly Farm. Now I doubt myself because one time I said it was Tarkey. But American Tunis from Tarheelbilly Farms, which by the way, she is speaking at the Vogue Knitting Live in Columbus, Ohio. She has a lecture. So I am going to be attending that, and then Clara Park's lecture on the same day. So I will be there, fingers crossed, for Vogue Knitting Live in Columbus, Ohio. So I wanted to take all the classes, but I had to rein myself in because we just had to buy a new to me car. I say new to me because it is not new. But it's still super fancy. It has air conditioning. Every time my child says it, I'm like, don't say it too loud. Don't let the fates hear you. So I had to be restrained and not take all of the classes. But I did sign up for those 2 lectures, and I'm excited to attend those. So I really loved spinning the American Tunis. It is more of a down wool than I realized, but it's similar to like down breeds. I don't actually know that it's classified as a down wool. I'm sorry. But it has that feel to me, certainly. So this one is super fun. It is probably worsted weight, I would say. Maybe even busting into like an Aran. And it is very ploofy and smooshy and nice, and I'm excited about it. Even though these aren't usually my colors, I still think it is a very fun skein. And it'll make an awesome Quaker yarn stretcher, or it'll make an awesome anything, quite frankly. Can you tell that I'm really ready for the weather to be under 70 degrees? Like our apple orchard has apples ready, and I'm just like, I can't do it. I can't pick apples if it's over 80 degrees. I mean, I know I have in the past, but I just, my heart's not there. I know my knitters are with me. And I'm not trying to rush time. I'm just, like, I'm really, I was sewing yesterday, and I just happened to turn my head, and I keep all of my shawls that are like in current rotation on like the posts of our stairwell, and I just happened to like catch them out of the side of my eye, and I was just like, oh. It inspired like all this dreaminess of like, August is rough, right? Like it's like it's the February of summer. It is like the novelty is worn off. Like we've got some veg in. I'm not trying to rush it because all the veg isn't in yet, but like, I really do need some wool time. Okay. Speaking of veg, I didn't mention shenanigans. I'm just gonna cradle this game while we're talking about it. Okay. We have not had too many shenanigans. As I said, we had to buy a new used car, so that was like a significant chunk of time. And then what else has been going on? We went to the state fair, the Indiana State Fair, which I always love. Even though part of me is like, oh, it's I get like that, like, oh, it's so expensive. That's crazy. How does anybody do this? It's just a state fair. It should be part of our taxes. Everyone should have access to the state fair. I don't know. Anyway, I'm a socialist. So we went to the state fair, and last time we went, we didn't get to see the sheep, but this year was like, no, I asserted we went to go see the sheep first, which was actually kind of not very exciting. Like, the sheep are not displayed in such a way that they tell you like what all the different sheep are. And I do have pretty good familiarity with like your big name sheep breeds. But a lot of the sheep that they're exhibiting I think are primarily meat sheep. And so they're shorn like super pink, like they're pink. They have their little pink skin showing through. And so, and the B, they're not, because there's no fleece on them, it's harder for me to tell what they are. And again, I'm just not as familiar with meat breeds because, well, we don't use them as often in our woolly lives. So, then they're not like, again, they weren't labeled or anything like that. So it was kind of like, okay. Some of them were, which is exciting. And there were some little Shetlands and stuff. That was cool. They're such tiny bobbies. But then we had to go through the swine barn to get out. The swine barn totally made up for how unexciting the sheep barn was. You know, sometimes I like to pretend that like my animal identifier is like a bear, but maybe it's a pig because pigs are awesome. And they're so big and yet cool. And they were just, oh, I was in love with all of them. I totally acted like a child. I could not even keep my, I could not restrain myself at all. I kept doing this because they were so cute. They're so sturdy. I think that's one of the reasons I love them. They just really, they're like in the world, you know, like a pig is not like, oh, I'm sorry, pardon me, I'm sorry. Oh, let me get out of your way. They're not like bullies, but they're like, no, this is the space I occupy, and I am totally justified in occupying this space. I am pig. For that, I deeply love them. How many Kleenexes can this dog find to chew up? Okay, I'm just gonna let it go. And then, as we were walking through, like when they bring the sheep through the sheep barn, the sheep are in like their halters and like, cause you know, sheep are free pigs walking through the barns. Their people have like a little, I say the word switch, but you're all gonna freak out. It's like a very fine little stick. Okay, it's not like a switch like your grandma's gonna switch your butt with. It's like a very fine, my grandma never switched my butt, FYIs. I feel like I needed to add that in. But like a little thin switchy stick. And they just kind of like pat the pig to like help, because pigs don't have the greatest little eyesight. They just kind of pat them to like a little, like a walking cane almost, like just to kind of give them directions that they're going. And the pig just kind of just goes on through. And I was like, I did a lot of when there was a free pig. I just totally made my own ears ring. Sorry. They were really cute. I may have not made that much noise because pigs do have very sensitive ears. So we walked through the whole thing. It was very exciting. On the way out, like, because it was actually the entrance is the way we left. They had like the biggest, they said world's largest pig, but I doubt highly that the world's largest pig is from Lafayette, Indiana. I mean, I could be wrong, but anyway, they had 2 male pigs. So they had one that was 1,060 pounds, and he was like a ginger. He was like me. He kind of had red hair and pinky pink skin. And then they had one that was like black skin, black fur with some white on him, and he was like 1,010 pounds. He was like, because all the other pigs are really big. Like, these are not like cute Peppa pigs. These are not like mini pigs. Like, these are real pigs. So they're all big, and like you're like, oh, that's a big animal, and like that's awesome, and again, taking up its space. But the like 1,060-pound pigs are like a whole different ball of wax. Like, they're enormous. They probably don't respond well to the little switchy switch. They're probably just like, I'll go where I want to go. Let's not even talk about. Okay, I'm not going to talk about that. I'm totally talking about it. So I'm always fascinated when we go to sheep stuff, and sheep's testicles are so enormous. Like, I just think it's fascinating. Like, they're just proportionately, like, insane. Guess what? 1,060-pound pig. Enormous testicles. Enormous. Just thought I'd let you know. Then, there were the 2 mamas who won, like, Grand Champion and Grand Reserve. I don't know. Like, first and second. With their litters. And one litter was 13 pigs, and the other litter was 14 pigs. There was a runt in that 14 pig, though. I was a little worried about that runt. I was like, I can take that home. I mean, totally. Like, we can have a pig in our 2-bedroom house with our, like, 15 square feet of backyard. That's legit. Oh my gosh, they're so cute. Oh my gosh. Anyway, that was really the highlight of the fair for me. We did do the normal things. We could go see the big vegetables. I always love that. We tried to go to the DNR to look at all the DNR things, but by the time we got over there, it was just too many humans, and I got a little freaked out. But my family did the Midway. I don't do the Midway. I am a fat lady, and I don't even want to deal with it. I will be completely honest with you. Unless there is like the, you know, like at the airport where there's like the, does your thing fit in this bin? Like, does your bag fit in this bin? Unless there's like a seat that's like, does your butt fit in this seat, and it's like outside of the ride, I'm not even trying. Just not even trying. My family had lots of fun riding rides. Oh, gosh. And then I think that's been basically it. Yeah, that was all of it. That was like a car and a fair. And then tomatoes are starting to come on. Finally. I think it's hilarious that when all these tomatoes were green, I was like, I think I'm going to have too many tomatoes to deal with. I forget. Like, I don't really eat. Okay, confessions. I'm the only person in my family that doesn't eat fresh tomatoes. I just don't like them. I mean, I'm not anti them. Like, I won't, like, remove them from something. And they can be a pleasant part of something, but they're not, like, a thing that I look forward to. Isn't that dark? I'm so weird. I don't eat fresh cucumbers. I have 20 cucumber plants. I don't eat fresh tomatoes. I have like 36 tomato plants. But I do saucing tomatoes to preserve. And I like the fresh tomatoes in other ways. Like, I do enjoy them in like salsas and things like that. I just don't, like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm the only one in my whole family, I kid you not. Like, they all eat them like apples. Like, they love put the salt on and they just love them. I'm the only anomaly. And I mean my family, like not my current family. I mean like my ancestor family. Current family is not eating them either. But anyway, so that was all just to say. I forgot that like 1 million tomatoes makes like a quart of sauce. I forgot how much they cook down. So I had that moment of like, oh, well, I mean, I guess it's good that I don't have too many tomatoes to deal with, but yeah, that was foolish of me to even think for a hot minute that I was going to have too many tomatoes. But yeah, the tomatoes are doing really well. I had to go out and prune them because they got a little bit insane. They were really getting like taller than me, which is super cool and exciting, but if they get tomatoes on those branches, I don't have a way to support them. So we did that. My cucumbers I think have finally given it up. I thought they were totally dead, and then I got like 10 cucumbers off there the other day. And then like 2 rogue cucumbers that were like, they weren't quite as big as my forearm, but they were enormous. They were yellow, like they were not good. By the way, I do want to say that like I was really freaked out when I found out that the yellow cucumbers, like that means they're bad. And while I'm sure they're not great for eating, they are totally still fine for pickling. I mean, I would not like aim for those. I would not like go for them. But especially if you have a cucumber that's like yellow on an end or, you know, like they're fine. And I was really stressed out that I let some of my cucumbers get too big. Because they always tell you to like only pickle smaller cucumbers that have less seeds. Well, I mean, the seeds are not like the best part of a pickle, but and the seeds in those yellowed ones are a little tougher, but like I did not find them to be problematic at all. They were fine. So now I have 30 quarts of bread and butter pickles. I thought they were dead. They actually do look really pitiful. Like I think like 90% of them are like outs. There's just like a few plants that are still hanging on. So those guys are going out to put kale in. And then my beans are just not doing well. I think I just let them go too plant crazy. I was not actively pruning them like I should have. This is the first year I've grown runners. I've always done bush beans in the past because I didn't have a way to support runner beans. So I think I was just really excited that they were growing. But I think I let them put way too much energy into growing their leaves and their vines and not enough into making beans for me. So those are lessons learned for next year. That's cool. It's cool. Also lesson learned from my 3 sisters garden. I don't think I told you this yet, but like so you plant your corn, you let your corn get up about 6 to 8 inches, I think is the thought. And then you put 2 bean plants. That's kind of generally what's thought. 2 bean plants at the base of your corn plant. And then you let those go up the corn and use the corn as a support. The beans help to affix the nitrogen into the soil. They also help to support the corn plant. And then after a while, you put in your squash varieties, your winter squashes around there. I guess you could do summer, but I did winter. But so I did not like take care to make sure that the 2 bean plants that were at the base of each corn plant were actually only going on to that corn plant. So some of my beans some of my corn stalks have no beans on them, and then some of them have like 4 beans on them, and they're being torn down like in some sort of like vegetables are taking over after the apocalypse kind of thing, and they're just like ripping the corn stalks down. So that's this one I learned for next year. So my garden's looking a little shaggy right now, but the tomatoes look awesome. The beans look awesome. They just aren't doing what I need them to do. Part of that is because they went in on new dirt, which did have some nitrogen fertilizer in it, and it's probably a little rich for them. But I think majority of the issue is that I didn't prune them. So next year I'm going to be an active pruner. This year was just like the whoo year. Okay, now let's talk about knitting. And since we were just talking about vegetable-y knitting, well, guess what I have to show you? I have my only finished object for the week. Well, except for my sewing, so that does count. I finished this little tomato. So Susan B. Anderson released a new kit and a new pattern. The pattern is for a garland, as she is. Is she going to make a Halloween one? I'm just asking. Gonna be in trouble if she does. So it's a super cute. I did not bring my phone with me, so I don't have. That was not very wise of me, but I'm sure you've seen it. It has a beet. It has onions. It has a mini cucumber. It has corn. It has tomato. It has peas. I think that's all I can think of. So she sold the pattern individually, and then she also has a kit through Barrett Wool. I don't know if it's still there or not, with her Wisconsin Woolen Spun. Now, this is not the kit yarn for the, I did buy the kit. Confessions. Just impulse, okay? I bought it. So this is, the little stem is not from the kit, but the body of the tomato is. Now, she gives you all of the yarn you need in the kit, as she always does. But I had like wound up my little mini skeins and then like just lost the screen one and could not find it. So I found it though. Now she's home. So I did not check my gauge. Mine are maybe a little bit tighter than they're supposed to be because I knit mine on zeros, but whatever. That's what I like to do. So isn't that cute? So I haven't decided yet whether they're going to be a garland or whether I'm just making like Christmas ornaments out of them. I can't decide. I could do it both ways, I guess. I could totally. I could like, oh my gosh, stop thinking. So yay that. This is my bag, my friend Corey. Yay. She doesn't make bags for you, only for us. Just saying. But isn't this a cute bag? This is vintage fabric and I love it. And it's got this fun design where you use, instead of the drawstring being in a casing the whole way around, it's got like little tabs. Isn't that fun? So that means there's plenty of, it's very easy to draw tight, especially if you're using like a thicker fabric. It'd be very easy. And it's very cute. I just like it so much. Oh, sorry, sometimes I show you things you can't have. I'm the worst. Okay. Then. Okay, that's all of, okay, so now we do this. Okay, so now I'll show you my progress on my PetiteKnit Ellen's Playset. And this is yarn from 2 Dye Crew in their Firefly colorway. So this is a Bobby sweater. I'm not having a baby, it's not for me. Trust me, my uterus is very upset about it. She's currently trying to secede from the union. Settle down, uterus. So yay, I have the little body done. And then I need to do the sleeves and the little button placards. I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do for buttons. If I'll actually do buttons or if I'll do snaps. I can't decide yet. So I'll have to kind of play with that and see how that goes. But yeah, it's turning out quite well. I think it's pretty sweet. There's maybe a better view of what it'll look like. So there's that. Enjoying that. I do not necessarily recommend this pattern for a new knitter. I have no issue with the pattern, but it does a little bit more of that like old school working pattern. Like if you're an older knitter, if you're a knitter that's been knitting longer, because you could be a young knitter and just been knitting your whole life. But it was very common in older patterns for you to see things that were like on a sleeve that has an eyelet pattern and it has decreases for the arm or in the raglan or whatever. It would say like continue in pattern. So I think that's not a bad thing at all. In fact, I think in some ways it's a good thing. It teaches you more how to read your knitting, but it is different than the more modern convention of showing you like either writing out the decrease sequence or showing it to you in a chart or what have you. And I know that's not like exclusively how things are done, but pretty much most patterns now are not written as a like continuing pattern format. So if you're a new knitter or you're not comfortable reading your knitting, it may not be the best for you. However, it's such a simple stitch pattern that if you're interested in that, it's a good option for learning how to, you know, or being kind of forced to learn to read your knitting a bit more. Okay, so then I'll show you my Nordiska cardigan, and that is a pattern by Caitlin Hunter. So it's this one. I finished the body and have started on, I just got like 2 rows on a sleeve. Really, it's pitiful. So there's mine so far. Now, I did do something a little bit differently in that I read the pattern incorrectly. The chart is written as it should be with the first row at the bottom of the chart. But since I was knitting down, like I was just excited to do the color work. And I just started at the top of the chart. So, you know, old knitters do things wrong too. So I thought, well, I could either mirror it and so do the same here on the bottom and the top, but what I ultimately decided to do was just change it up a little bit. I'm running low on the lighter color anyway. So I went ahead and switched up a little bit and decided to cast off in the darker contrast color, just to kind of help me save my lighter color. Because I only have 50 grams to do my sleeves. And I know that's a lot for most people, but I have big arms. And I did not do this pattern as it's written. As it's written, the arm side is way deeper. And I did it more of a traditional fit because I knew I didn't have a lot of extra yarn, or I had less yarn than was actually recommended. So that, and then just the fact that I don't know that I love that poncho arm kind of thing. I'm not against it. It looks darling, but I'm not quite there with a comfort with it. So, but it's looking really nice. Yay! And again, this is another one that's written for like 6 to 12 inches. I don't know. I'm just making that up. But it's written with a significant amount of positive ease. And I did negative ease. I loved the look of it. I would have actually probably done the positive ease in it if I would have had enough yarn. But when I purchased the yarn, I had it in my head that I was just going to try to be cheap about it and save that third skein of the body color. So I kind of knit myself into a corner on that one. But I tried it on and I think it looks pretty cute. So I'm excited about that. And I've never done, I don't think I've ever done a sweater where the color work is on the bottom, and that's pretty exciting. Because, you know, as you're going through the yoke, like that's kind of exciting in and of itself. And then you get to that body of like, oh my gosh, even on a crop sweater, it's like 10 inches of stockinette. And a figuring weight for a fat lady, that's just like, oh gosh. I have another sweater that's done to the stockinette for the body part, and I'm just like, I keep trying to knit on it, and it's just like not going anywhere. So I think I should just save it for fall and then get back in it. But so it's nice to have that color work in the bottom. It's like, oh, I still have something I have to look forward to. And I really did just like zoom through that color work section. So that was fun. And I appreciate that about the way the original pattern is written with that deeper arm side, is really like you knit that deeper arm side and then like really very quickly thereafter you do the color work for the body, you do the color work for the sleeves, and you're done. So it's pretty cool. I just didn't do it that way. So So then the last thing I have to show you is some charity knitting. One of the women on my, I can't remember if it was on my Smith Stitchers or on my like Seven Sisters Crafters, I don't know which Facebook groupie thing, but she put a call out. She works with an organization in Portland, Maine, and they are going to have, I can't remember if she said 400 or 450 political refugees that will be beginning their stay in America there this winter, and so they need some cold weather stuff. So I don't do a lot. I don't do charity knitting generally. Like my logic mind is always like, you should just give dollars because dollars can buy more things than my hand knit stuff can. But sometimes the heart outweighs the head and the logic, and I hope that like all of the positive and welcoming thoughts that I can knit into these little tiny things, I'm doing it for me. Like it's completely doing it for me, and like there's a lovely byproduct at the end, but it's completely for me, this charity knitting, and I 100% acknowledge that. Sometimes you need to be able to pick up something that you're putting a lot of positive attention into, that you're putting a lot of positive intention into, just as like just again, completely for me. And hopefully somebody will be able to receive it, and it would be lovely if they could feel any of that warmth from me. But it is primarily an action for myself, and I admit that. So I have some hats for you to show you that I've worked on. The pattern is from Purl SoHo. Sorry, it's called it's free on Ravelry. Well, it's not like a download. You have to go to their website. But it is the classic cuffed hat. So it is written for worsted weight yarns, and they did request that the yarns be superwash or like easy care. And I don't have much superwash worsted weight. I don't know that I have actually any. So what I'm doing is just knitting superwash finger weight held double. So my first hat is in yarn from Yarn Cafe Creations. And this is her Biscotti sock fingering weight. It's 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon, 15% nylon, in the In Bed by 9 colorway, because it's from her adulting 2018 collection. So isn't that lovely? I love her palette. I love her color sense. You know, I think sometimes I gravitate towards very saturated colors, and while her colors do have points of deep saturation, they have just an overall softer effect that I really do enjoy. So as you can see, it just turned out lovely. And I think this would be good for just about any kiddo. So this is the hat comes in a baby, children's, and adults sizes. So I had enough yarn left over. So this took basically 64 grams for the kids size. So I would have had enough yarn left over to hold. My plan was to either hold it with like a white or a gray or a blue and do like a more marled hat. But Gustav the Destroyer found my little yarn ball and did his destruction. So anyway. So just one, but isn't that cute? And in my head, like it's superwash yarns are not as warm as regular, non-treated yarns. But for me, I think that holding them double does add a little airspace in there. So in my head, it seems warmer than just a single strand of superwash worsted. And also it's very plush and kind of fun to knit with that way. So that one is a kiddo's size. And then my next one I'm working on is Malabrigo, their Single Ply, and I apologize, I don't know what the colorway is. And I'm holding that double. I cast on for a kid size because she said they had more children than adults. But it just kind of looked like a more grown-up colorway. So I decided to rip that back out and start an adult's size. So I'm not sure how much yarn the adult size will take, but we'll see. But I think it looks very lovely. And again, I just love the way fingering weight held double feels. It just feels so plush and squishy. So yay those. I'm not sure how, like to get the information of where to send the items. It's actually to this person's home address. So I don't know that they have like a general receiving address that she would feel comfortable giving out to a large number of folks. But if you are interested in doing any, you know, mittens, hats, scarves kind of knitting, and it does need to be superwash or easy care yarn, you know, just maybe in the YouTube notes, just hit, you know, just type I'm interested or something like that, and then I can send her the link to this episode so she can see like how many folks would be interested, so she could decide if she feels comfortable giving out her address, or if she, because I even thought, well, I'll just rent a P.O. box, but P.O. boxes are spendy. So I don't know if they have another like public address that things could be sent to. So I'm just doing it for me, but if you're interested, just put something down in the notes and we'll go from there. How's that? Okay. Anyway, so now Charity just straight into shameless self-promotion, because that's how I do things. So there will be an update in the shop on August 16th. That's Friday at 9 p.m. These are sewn to order bags. They should go out in about 2 weeks. I have fabric in-house. I was going to do a straight pre-order, but I really want to get some Halloween and fall bags in before we have a cutoff. So if they sell out super quick, I'll do another pre-order in like a month or something. But I don't think they will, because I did get quite a bit of yardage in-house. So, these are all cursey. So if you're anti-curse word, you can either fast forward to see Halloween stuff, or I'll see you next time. Also, if you don't want to be tempted, like if you're on a like no spending, just shush. I'm not going to say anything fun. Well, I mean, I might, but don't watch it. See you next time. Okay, here's the bags. So this is the first one. So this is, and these are only available in the sizes I'm showing you, because I've already cut the fabric and everything, so I know exactly how much I have to sell. So this one is a linen cotton canvas. And it says, I'm too old for this shit. Because I am. The second one, these are in no particular order. How cute is that? So this is the denim. So this is a denim in a sweater size bag. And then the third one is also a sweater size bag. This one is, however, a canvas. The denim doesn't hold the super saturated colors quite as well. So I went with a canvas base on this one. It's a little bit softer than the denim. It's a little bit less rigid, but it's still a good heavy wearing fabric. So, yeah. And these will have various colored zippers in them, but probably an orange tag because I like orange. And they're cute. So again, those will be August 16th at 9 p.m. Eastern. They will be sewn to order, so give me about 2 weeks and I should have them out to you. And then the Friday, I'm planning the Friday of Labor Day, really planning the Friday of Labor Day, I will have another set of bags up for you, and they should be ready to ship like Monday. Our post offices will be closed, but they should be ready to go out Tuesday or Wednesday. And this is not all of them that I'm going to show you. I'm actually just showing you samples because the samples just came in. So the fabric's not even in house yet, but I had to show you these 4 because I'm just really excited about them, okay? I have other things too, but teaser. Okay, so I love this one. Right. So this will probably be in large wedge sizes because it's a linen cotton canvas with all of the amazing quads. Loving it. And then these 3, oh wait, this one will also be, it's this fun retro, isn't that cute? Loving it. Nice, very saturated colors. And then these all three are together. I love them all separately, but the same. What? It's like Pennsylvania Dutch Halloween. What is happening with this fabric? I am such a sucker for ochre. I'm like, ugh. So that'll be a large wedge one. I mean, I don't know if you could, in case you're just gonna say, like, look at the fun little skullsies. What? Okay. And then, so these are both canvases. So I'm believing that this will be the sweater size bag. Right? Can you even with this? I can't even with this. And then this is my super favorite. So this, I believe, will be Aran size bags because the motif is ginormous. I like big things. What can I say? What? The other reason I'm going to do this one as the Aran is because it feels a little bit less Halloween-y. And now it still has all of the same motifs and stuff in it, but it feels like it's a little bit more fall focused than just strict Halloween. Probably because there's less witchy people on it. There are still some witchy people. But like, look at this apple. Right. So excited by these fabrics. Yay! It's out of control, y'all. So, again, I will definitely have an update the Friday of Labor Day weekend, which, if you're not in America, is Friday, August 30th at 9 p.m. And I'm going to try to get everything done for that update. If not, I'll do an update then and then maybe in a week or something like that, so I can get some fall bags out to you before the fall is upon us. It's not fall yet. Anyway, I hope you have a good week, and I'll talk to you next time.